What's up, guys? It is another video, but we're going to start with story time. So, if you've been following all my videos, which I'm sure most of you have not, this probably won't get a whole lot of videos, but I wanted to make it anyway because I love my best friend. And I've done a video before where I went over to his house and I surprised him with a computer setup so he can do his music thing. And this year, I am actually going to make him something again for his birthday / Christmas, since it's really close from each other. November, December, close enough. I'm cheap, but not super cheap. Okay, I'm super cheap. That's besides the point. So, it's basically a long running joke. Maybe 10 plus years ago, we were having a conversation and I got him something for Christmas, and I let him know, like, I got you something for Christmas. And we joke around a lot, obviously, if you watch Snapchaps, which is our other channel. We joke around a lot with each other, and we just ran with this joke. He asked what I got for him, and of course I was joking. I wasn't going to tell him what I got him. What I said is, I got you a big fluffy Christmas sweater with a giant reindeer on it, with a big blinking red nose that sang Jingle Bells. Just basically, I invented the ugly sweater right there. And ever since then, every time I say I'm going to give him a gift, that comes up. He says, "Oh, are you finally going to get me my sweater?" as a joke. But this year, it changes because I'm actually going to get it for him. And I finally got the stuff in the mail to create it. Now, this is my first time making clothing as a gift, but jack of all trades here, so let's do it. All right, so the first thing that we have to do is visit our friendly Amazon, I can't say neighbor because they're always watching. Maybe it is Santa. Anyway, we went to Amazon and I got 3 things. That's all I need for this whole thing. First, the sweater. Now, I was thinking of actually making the entire sweater, but they already made one, and it makes it so much easier because I'm not I don't want to do the presses, and no, that's too much for me. So that's the first thing we need, the base sweater with a reindeer on it. The second thing we need is one of these. Now, this is basically a speaker. This is what you put in like those Build-A-Bears and stuff. You can record whatever you want on these up to 20 seconds, and it says whatever the heck. So you've got a little button on here. It says record, off, and play. So if I record something like Jingle Bells, which I'm going to do, like the old school, like if you had one of those little toys, it was like, dun, 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 dun. You know, one of those cheesy ones, that's what's going on here. So you can record something, and then there's a little microphone right there, which I'm going to do. And then you go down to play, and every time you hit this button, it'll do whatever was on here. I don't even know what's on here.
Merry Christmas, motherfucker.
So moving on to number 3, the last thing we need is a light. Now, this was the part that really took the longest time for me to figure out what I was going to do. Originally, I was just going to do fairy lights, so these little things, and then kind of like make it go behind the sweater and it lights through the sweater. And then I thought of, there was another sweater that came pre-installed, so it had its own little 3D nose on there that lit up. However, those sweaters, along with all the Christmas lights and stuff that go over it, you can't wash it. It's basically like a very one-time use kind of like Christmas party, and then you put it away. There's no washing. You can't replace anything. You can't take that stuff off. It's permanent. So I couldn't do that. So I thought of making my own bowl, but then I thought, wait, I can just buy a flashing red light for bicycles. So that's what I got. I got this LED safety light, which basically goes on bicycles. So we open this up, and that's what we got. We've got these little things, which are perfect. They come with a clip. They also come with, like, if you actually want to put it on like a helmet or a bicycle or something, you can actually strap that in. but it comes with a little clip, and I'm going to use that clip. I'm just going to sew something on the sweater, just like a little piece of fabric, so I can clip this on. So if he does want to wash it, all he has to do is pop it off. And speaker, I'm going to do something with the speaker so he can take the speaker out, so he can wash this separately, so he can wear it every day for the rest of at least December. So I looked high and low, and I could not find exactly what I was looking for. I was looking for one of those card sounds where you open it up and it does a really lame version of Jingle Bells. So the closest thing I could find was, of course, on YouTube. They have a Jingle Bells, just the instrumental part. So I was able to get that little bit. It was a little more than I wanted. I wanted it to be more cheesy, but I got that one. I got it recorded on here. It's just the first little bit of it. So now I have all of this stuff ready to go. Now I just need to fit these onto the sweater, and I think I should be good, maybe? So the challenge that I was thinking of, getting a sweater like this, you can see that it's a knit. So because it's a knit, it's very hard to just sew something on like fabric. Like my pants here, you could sew something into the fabric and have it blend in very well. But for something like this, where it can easily stretch, you can very, very easily see something that's sewn on. But with this one, I got really lucky because you can see it's actually two different colors. There's actually two layers. So you have this layer on the inside and this layer on the outside. So you have two separate layers. So I'll be able to sew on the inside layer without it showing anything on the secondary layer. So that's perfect. I can sew a little pocket in for this one to sit in there. And then for this guy, I'm probably going to just cut this off right here because I don't need the fluffy nose. Instead, I'm going to get this and put it on here instead, so he's got a blinking red nose. I just have to figure out how I'm going to attach this. I'm thinking of, again, just sewing something on so this clip can go into it. And yeah, first things first, I gotta cut this off, which is really sad because I just paid for it. Got your nose. All right, for Rudolph's nose job here, I was thinking this would be a really good thing. It's very thick. It's like a ribbon, but the thing is, it's really, really thin. So if we clip it on and you lean over or something, it has a really easy possibility of coming off. So I can't use that. So I grabbed an old shirt, and I'm thinking this area here along the collar, the bottom, or the sleeve. I'm actually probably going to use the sleeve. I'm going to cut this thick part off of it, and I think just doubling it up once is going to be the perfect amount of thickness to where this is going to be very difficult for it to fall off by itself, but still easy enough to clip off when he removes it to be able to wash this. So I'm going to cannibalize this shirt, cut this off, and this should be good. It's not too ridiculously stretchy, so I'm hoping over time it's not going to sag. Who knows? We'll see how this goes. Let's get this cut up. All right, so now that I have this all done, part of my sleeve, I'm going to measure it. So I'm going to double it up right here like I said I was going to, and then I'm going to pull it off to the side, and I'm going to cut it so when you flip it over and I have it sewn on, you're not going to see the edges flopping around. So it's going to be about that big, and then cut it along there. So with my little Sharpie here, I just lifted this up and marked the top and the bottom where it's going to be. So now I can get this out of the way, and I can just see those faint little lines. Now I can take this off the back, and I can lay it on here, and I can sew this on. So for this, I can't just sew through one layer, and I don't need to really sew through one layer, so I can sew through them both. So I'm just going to sew up and down here and up and down here. I'm going to go back and forth a few times just to make sure this thing's locked in place and it's not going to unthread itself. If you're watching this and you're actually into sewing, you probably know that. If you're watching this and you're not into sewing, then you must really be bored. Now time for the jingle bells. Looks good. Okay, so I have finished the right side and the left side now, and what I also decided to do was go across the top just on this bit, so it doesn't actually go through. I just did that, so it's now sewn together as one piece, so because it was two overlapping, I don't want one being caught all the time. So now this is one bit here, so when it goes through, you don't get caught on anything. So, done. Now, on the inside, basically what I'm thinking is making a little pocket on the inside of this. So, like a little pocket or a pouch that I can slip this inside. So if you want to press the button, you just hit the shirt, that button is pressed, and at the top, if I can find a button, I can have a button in there. So when he wants to wash this, he can just pop the button out on the inside, take this out, take the nose off, boom, and he can wash it. So I'm gonna turn this inside out, and like I said, it's two separate layers in here. So when I sew on the inside, it's gonna be awesome because you won't be able to see where the pocket is. Okay, so I think I've come up with a pretty ingenious idea. I was thinking about putting this speaker in a pocket. I'm still gonna do that, but where I'm gonna place it was something I was trying to figure out. I'm like, where am I gonna put it in here? So what I decided to do was put it directly behind the light. So when he wants to make it sing Jingle Bells, all he has to do is push the red nose, and it will in turn hit the button and play. Even though the speaker is on the other side, it should still be loud enough to play. I'm going to do a little bit of testing, but I feel like that is the easiest way to do it. Okay, so what I decided for the inside, since making a button on a two-layer would be extremely difficult, I don't know how I would just get the button on one side and not make it show through on the other side. So what I ended up doing is, instead of just making cloth and then sewing it to one side and then sewing a button to it and just having some excess and then hooking the button in there, I'm gonna do two sides. So what I've done here is I've sewn both sides. I know this is not the best way of doing it, but I've just been brainstorming. So what I'm gonna do is sew here, like I've done already, and then I'm gonna eventually cut this off, and with this extra little bit up here, I'm gonna sew a button right there so I can just button that in. So chop all that off, chop these off, and with this extra bit, have a button right there. Boom. Once I get that done, then I'll take that and I'll sew it onto there, which is a little bit of a challenge, but it's not as much of a challenge as trying to sew a button in two layers. I'm not that skilled. All right, so quick update. I finally finished my little pouch here. Like I said before, I did sew up the sides, and then once I was done with that, then what I did is I got the button on the other side. So if I take this apart, the button is sewn to this back side. You can see where I got it there. And then all I did was cut a little hole up on this front one so the button could come through. Now my fabric's really bad, so I had to reinforce it. So you see the little hole right here. Basically, I just got a needle and went around and around and around on the outside here, so it didn't keep getting bigger and bigger, because this is some really, really cheap fabric. So now that this is done, I can grab this, throw it on the inside, sew up the left and right side to the inside, so that hangs in there, and I'm done. So this is definitely the hardest part of doing this. Because it's two layers, you have to go through just one. So what I'm doing here is I have the needle, and when I poke it through one side, I have to put my hand on the other to see when the needle goes through both layers, and then I have to back it out a little bit. So like it's through both layers now, then I have to back it up a little bit just so it pokes out of one, turn it, and then put it through, and then it goes through everything, just so I can just kind of hook in this first layer and then back out the top. It's quite difficult, but I'm getting it done slowly. All right, now that I'm done sewing on both sides here, again, just this top layer, which is very difficult to do because you kind of have to fish through it, but now that that's done, I can go ahead and put my speaker inside of here, just like that. Still got my button on there. I can pop the button on and flip it over to the other side, and you can't tell. There's no stitching coming through on the other side. You can see where it's kind of being pulled like that, but once you wear it flat, you can't tell. Now I just have to put the nose on, and then when he hits the nose, it's hitting the button that's right there, and it's gonna sing. I have made the ultimate sweater. So happy. I'm gonna keep this for myself. Fuck you, Zach.
You better get your camera rolling.
Got it.
Alright. Are you ready?
I can see you coming down the hallway with it. Slap that nose. The cat loves it.
I've been waiting for this damn sweater for 15 years. And might I say...
What does your son think about it?
Hey, buddy! Come look at my sweater! Sweater!
Ow!
Push my nose.
Back away slowly.
Is it cool?
Yeah, just that. Wait, where'd I get the shirt?
Where'd I get the shirt? Your uncle.
I made it sing.